Okay, hello everybody and welcome. We've got another Mario Kart 64 150cc skips matchup. This is between the tournament number 7 seed SuperViperT302 and the number 5 seed Smurfy. Just starting them off now. So both of these players are 2 wins and 1 defeat in what we're playing 4 Swiss rounds in the group stage. So the winner of this match will move to 3 and 1, and that will guarantee them a position in the knockout stage. The loser will go to 2 and 2 and will face a playoff match against one of the other 2 and 2 runners for one of the final 3 positions in the knockout stage. Both of these players have quite similar tournament bests so far. Smurfy's best run is a 29.22 and Super Viper's had a 29.40, so about 18 seconds over a 30-minute run between them. And we're going to start off on Luigi Raceway. It'll be interesting to see what strats they go for. The fastest strat is to spin around at the start, mess up one of the checkpoints, and then go for red shells. Super Viper's going for a CPU jump, obviously playing on the US version of the cartridge. So the red shell skip is not possible for him. So Smurfy is going for red shells, picking up 2 blues, picking up a star. Golden Shroom, he's probably going to have to go on and drive around now. So Super Viper's going to dip off to the left here and try and pick up this item box. And the item box from the balloon is always a blue shell. And he's going to use that blue shell to do something very similar to what he did off the start jump, which is to knock himself over the wall by where the start finish line is and fall through into the tunnel. Smurfy's playing on the Japanese version where the collision detection for the tunnel is removed, so he's trying to jump off a red shell and land on the wall, and that will put him basically a whole lap ahead. So Smurfy's now entering his last lap as Super Viper is coming around the final corner. Smurfy's going to pick up a blue shell. So Super Viper with a 116. Smurfy's got to hit this blue shell and land on the other side. Yep. So he'll cross the line with about a 1 minute 30. So we're seeing about a 14-second lead to Super Viper after the first track. Moving on to Moo Moo Farm. This track is pretty much entirely non-shortcut. I say pretty much entirely non-shortcut. This track is entirely non-shortcut. We don't know any shortcuts on this track as of yet. However, the rate new shortcuts are being found in this game. You never know. We've just had 2 new shortcuts discovered in the last 2 days. One on Royal Raceway, one on Rainbow Road. So Smurfy is well versed in pretty much all aspects of this game. He's a very high level time trialer in both non-shortcuts and shortcuts, and also very highly skilled when it comes to the 150cc skips and no skips runs. Super Viper, I think, is more just a 150cc skips run player from what I know. So I'm expecting Smurfy to make up a little bit of time on the non-shortcut driving aspects, and Super Viper to basically look to nail all the skips pretty much first time. So it looks like Super Viper is going to come around Moo Moo Farm with a 117. I think Smurfy is probably going to be looking for something like a 112, but hitting that mole is going to make that a little difficult. Going to get the 113. So it should still be about a good 10-second lead to Super Viper going into Koopa Troopa Beach. So there's going to be 2 things at play on Koopa Troopa Beach. Firstly is jumping from the ramp into the cave. It's what we consider an alternate route rather than a shortcut. So Jumping through the cave is allowed in the no skips version of the game. And secondly, we're going to see some finish line glitches, where there's a badly mapped polygon to the right of the finish line. So SuperViper's going to pick up an item off of this ramp. He's going to drive out to the right of the finish line, and just for a frame or so, the game will think he's in 8th place, which is why you can pick up an 8th place item. Going to be looking to pick up a star or a golden shroom. Picking up the blue shell and the triple reds doesn't save them any time at all. So SuperViper going to go for another 8th place item glitch here. Gets a lightning, that doesn't help him. See how Smurfy's luck is. Gets a blue shell. So both players got the 8th place item glitch both times, but neither player got anything useful at all out of it. SuperViper's made the tunnel jump 3 times. That's the most key thing on this lap. Same with Smurfy. Looks like SuperViper's going to get a 126. Smurfy's coming around in probably a 120, 121. So another 5 seconds clawed back, so should only really be about 5 seconds between the two of them. So very close race here is what we kind of expected with how close their tournament times have been. This track's going to be a bit down to RNG. So you'll see them pick up an item box at the start, and then they're going to circle round. And it's not the position you pick the item box up in, it's the position you trigger it. So they're going to trigger it in 8th, and they're going to be hoping for a star. So Smurfy's got the star straight away. That star's going to allow him to do a lap skip. SuperViper's going to be looking for probably a star. If he gets triple reds, I think he'll take those. There's some skips you can do with the red shells. So he's got the reds, he's going to activate it. Now if he gets a star as well, no. Okay, so SuperViper didn't want the reds, he's just fishing for a star. So Smurfy is now in the lead because he already has that star. So if you watch Smurfy's screen, he's going to drive into the tunnel where the train just went in. He'll drive until Lakitu tells him to turn around, and that means he's crossed the finish line. Once you activate the star and recross the finish line, it counts as having done a lap. And so essentially you got an entire lap out of the race just by driving into the tunnel a little bit. Right. That move is actually explained in the instruction manual, I believe. It can only be performed on laps 1 and 2. You can't finish the race in the tunnel. And wow, SuperViper is having some horrendous luck with RNG. He's going to need the star to come pretty quickly. Cotton Shroom. I think he's just going to have to drive around now. Oh. This is going to be difficult. He has to finish in the top 4. So the main rule of this category is you have to finish each track in a way that you would actually progress. So you can't just finish the last track of a cup in any position. You have to finish in the top 4 places of the race so that you would progress through to the finish ceremony. We don't actually make people sit through the finish ceremony. They can just reset as soon as they're done. It looks like SuperViper's going to be okay though. Smurfy's doing his Toast Turnpike skips. Looks like he got it perfectly on lap 1, so it's also triggering the finish line skip at the end, which warps another half lap. So it looks like Smurfy's probably on a really fast pace on Toast Turnpike actually. This is around a 130, 131 pace. You see a lot of people have a lot of difficulty on Toast Turnpike in this tournament. So if you watch on SuperViper's side, he's going to be abusing Lakitu. So Lakitu can only be on screen once in a brief period. So Lakitu comes, puts you down, And while he's still on screen, there's no collision detection, which means rather than getting stuck out of bounds, you can just jump straight through, land on the track below. Super Viper did it perfectly. Smurfy did get the 131. So Super Viper is now just after crossing the finish line. He's going to jump straight out of bounds again. And then he should get warped about half a lap forward. That's worked perfectly for him. And he'll drive to the end of his lap and then do the same again. Well, Smurfy's going to do one of the most famous shortcuts in the game, which is to drive back to the bridge, jump from the bridge to the snow without touching the road, drive past the finish line and get put out of bounds. Smurfy touched the road, so that didn't count for him. He's going to lose 6 or 7 seconds on this track. That's better. Ooh, Super Viper nearly getting put down inside that car. It's annoying when you're on perfect pace to be put down inside a vehicle. Smurfy getting a 38. So Super Viper should be able to catch up 6 or 7 seconds on Smurfy on Frappy if he can have a good clean Frappy Snowland. So 135 on Toad's Turnpike again. Another really good Toad's Turnpike there. Smurfy onto Choco Mountain. This is one of the more broken tracks in the game. There are quite a number of different shortcuts available. We typically see runners going for 2 of them. So you go for the big skip or big jump. So just after these item boxes, coming around the left, he's going to ram into the wall and try and bounce over. Beautifully done there by Smurfy. That's one of my favourite look. In fact, that probably is my favourite looking skip in this game, especially if you go really aggressive to it and land straight back on the road again after. Very, very difficult to do 3 out of 3. So let's see Smurfy going for it again. Gets a tumble, but that's still very good. Wow, Smurfy, he's on track for a really, really good Choco Mountain here. You see Super Viper caught up about 8 seconds on Frappy Snowland. See if Smurfy can make it over that wall 3 out of 3. Nope, so he's probably going to go for a backup on this grey wall. Or just missed it. And he's up and over. So Smurfy's going to get just sub 120. See how Super Viper comes on Choco Mountain. See if he goes for the big jump or just straight for the backups. He's going for the big jump, doesn't make it. Going for the backup further down the wall where it's a little bit easier. He's going to drive around now. So Smurfy onto Mario Raceway. You generally see 2 strats here. One is to sandbag looking for reds, the other is to just drive it. Smurfy's going for the just drive it approach. So unless he picks up a mushroom to do a wall skip, he's probably looking for something around a 115. It'll be difficult to get that now after that green hit. Super Viper not able to get over that wall on lap 2. Got an army of shells, 3 greens, 3 reds. See if Smurfy goes for the wall jump. Perfectly executed. That's going to save him about 9 seconds. So Smurfy on the last lap of the last track in the Cup. After this he'll reset and move on to Star Cup. So difference between the 2 players is pretty much exactly a Mario Raceway. So Smurfy's going to move on to Wario Stadium, which is one of the most simple tracks in the game, which also has one of the highest variances in times that people get. It can be infuriating sometimes how You can jump over walls so easily 1 minute, and then the next time you just can't seem to get over them to save your life. So a good run here would be under 30 seconds, but you can have it go well over a minute if you start getting lots of tumbles on the wall. So Smurfy's over lap 1. Not making it over quickly, going for a reverse on the backup. There he makes it over for lap 2. Oh, beautiful finish. 31 seconds. I think pretty much any runner will take a 31 seconds Warrior Stadium during a tournament match. It's very difficult to make up time versus a 31. I mean, you can get mid-20s, but I think you would be hard pressed to find anyone unhappy with a 31 on Warrior Stadium during this tournament. My favourite penguin in the game. So Sugarland is a non-shortcut track for humans. There is some crazy Taz strats which involve shrooming into CPUs to do massive jumps to go over to islands and stuff we're not going to see here. So Smurfy's aim is probably just to drive around and get something like a 135. That might be difficult after his first lap. So Super Viper's on his Wario Stadium. Having a little bit of difficulty on the first lap. Sets it up nicely, gets over. And over again. So Super Viper losing a little bit of time, but oh, we just landed the wrong side of the finish line there. Crossed the line too soon before he was on the other side of the track. They're essentially having to do 4 laps here. Makes it over with a 52. So going to lose about 21 seconds on Warrior Stadium. But this race is not over. We've seen massive comebacks on Rainbow Road. And it'll be interesting to see if anyone goes for any of the new shortcuts. I highly doubt either of them will try on Royal Raceway. The new Royal Raceway lap skip is pretty difficult to do, and it is quite RNG dependent on how quickly you can pick up the reds. So I certainly wouldn't expect Smurfy to go for it. Yeah, so Smurfy just driving forward off the line. What he's going to do is he's going to come around this U-bend here, and then he's going to jump across the river, hit the... he's meant to hit the wall to the right of that polygon seam. So what he's going to have to do is turn around, face that wall, line it up with a dark patch, jump across. And the game thinks he fell off the ramp, and it will put him back at the top of the ramp. And then he's got 2 options. Option 1, drive off to the left and tumble down to the water. The game thinks you fell off into the water over there, and it puts you down. The other option would just be to drive straight off the end of the ramp and drive round. The time difference between the two is negligible, maybe half a second. So Smurfy, let's see if he can get a cleaner jump across this time. Yeah, that was about as perfect as you can make it. Ooh, Super Viper spinning out into the water. You get doubly punished for falling into the water on Sherbetland, because not only do you have to wait for Lakitu to put you down, but you also get put down frozen and have to wait for the ice surrounding you to shatter. If you try to accelerate too soon, you'll end up stalling out. Smurfy going for his 3rd big skip on Royal Raceway, and nails it perfectly again. He's going left off the ramp. You can hit a finish line glitch if you land higher up into the grass off of there, but it's very difficult to do, and much safer just land where Smurfy did. Smurfy with a 150C, that gives us a little bit of time that Super Viper can make up on Royal Raceway if he can hit all his skips cleanly. Stalling out of a start is not great, but still time can be saved on this track. So Smurfy's moved on to Bowser Castle. This is a track without any humanly possible shortcuts, or not humanly possible yet anyway. Even though it is a no shortcut track where you're just driving around pretty much as intended, it's still probably one of the harder tracks in the game. It's not just skips that make things difficult. This track is just a bit brutal, especially to newer players. The CPUs try hard. The thwomps, they're on cycles, but they're pretty awkward, so anytime you go slightly off your usual timing, you'll end up facing thwomps, especially in this room Smurfy's coming to, where you can turn the corner and just have a thwomp right in your face. The CPU can also cheat on this track and drive through walls when you're not looking. You randomly see them come flying across you. So most players in the tournament will be looking for a Bowser Castle time in the 150s. Anything low to mid 150s is very good. Anything sub 2 minutes is generally acceptable. I think losing 5 seconds on Bowser Castle always hurts a lot more than losing 5 seconds, say, on a Wario Stadium. So Super Viper with a 150 on Royal Raceway. Not really making up much time, making up just a little, but not a huge amount there. He'll move on to Bowser Castle as well. So 155 Bowser Castle for Smurfy, that's very acceptable. So Smurfy's moving on to Special Cup. First track is DK Jungle Parkway, or Donkey Jungle Park in the Japanese version. He's going to turn around at the start and drive back into the cave. He'll then find his little setup spot, line up, jump through a badly matte texture, land back in the cave, and counts as having done an entire lap. Basically, you're crossing the finish line and then landing back in the cave. There's a slightly slower approach, which Smurfy's just done there, where you don't land back in the cave, you land in the water. And Nikita will put you down in the cave. Smurfy going for it for the third and final time. This time lands back in the cave, but didn't trigger the shortcut this time. So he's going to have to go for it again. This time it's good, so you can just drive up to the finish. And we'll get something like a 52. 51. The Super Viper is having a pretty decent Bowser Castle. Doesn't seem to have been anything major gone wrong. Probably shouldn't have opened my mouth. Bit of commentator curse there. So Smurfy's on Yoshi Valley. So there's two main shortcuts that get done here. Players will usually go for the right side shortcut, which we thought you had to drive around this right path, but it looks like there's a way of driving the left path to trigger it now, but I don't think anyone's practiced it. So you jump across the wall and cross the finish line, and that counts as having done the lap, and you'll get put down midway through lap 2. So Smurfy will either do that again on lap 3, or if he picks up a mushroom out of this item box, he may go for a different shortcut. Doesn't get a mushroom, so he's just gonna drive around and do the same shortcut on lap 3, but this time when he hits the shortcut, it will trigger the end of the race. SuperViperT on his DKJP. Very nice on lap 1. See if Smurfy can hit the right spot on the wall. Yeah, that looks good. And that's the race done. 1 minute 3. SuperViperT does his second of 3 shortcuts on DKJP. Line up his third one. Looks good as well. Yep, and he's going to shroom up the hill. Cross the finish line. Wow, that is a fantastic sub 40 on DKJP. Is absolutely outstanding. Smurfy's onto Banshee Bird Boardwalk, the penultimate track in the game. This one's going to be driven non-shortcut, and the biggest thing here is just avoiding all the bananas and fake boxes that the CPU will have been leaving in the most awkward of places around the track. It's very nice to pick up a ghost or some triple greens to give yourself a bit of protection on this track. So SuperViperT sandbagged for items at the start and gets a star. So that's going to let him do a different shortcut to finish the race off. But as with Smurfy, he'll do the right side shortcut on lap 1. And as long as he hits this one correctly, he'll be put down midway through lap 2. That looks good to me. So SuperViperT's triggered the end of lap 1 and is now halfway around lap 2. See if he goes for the hairpin jump. Yep, doesn't stay on track though. It's not a massive time loss. So SuperViperT's got that star, so what he's going to do is just after the finish line, he's going to stop, line up to a particular spot on the wall, and activate the star for extra speed. Use that extra speed to be able to clear the fence and hit that spot on the opposite wall. And that big black crack, he hits it, bounces to the left. That means it's going to be good. So as soon as he's set down, the race is over. Smurfy with a very clean 142 on Banshee Boardwalk is going to move on to the final track of the game, Rainbow Road. So up until today, we would have been talking about players jumping off at the start and then looking for green shells. It would be very interesting to see if anyone's going to spin round at the start and look for red shells. Smurfy isn't. It's very possible later on in the tournament as people have had time to practice. Wow! Smurfy overshot his landing. Is he going to try and hop back up to the top, or is he just going to drive down? He's just going to drive down. So that's going to lose him about 30 seconds or so. Maybe a little more. So the biggest issue with Smurfy missing his jump is that the players want to do a green shell skip at the end of a lap to do a lap skip, but you can only pick up those green shells when you're in first or second place. So falling back so much basically gives him a lot less opportunity to actually do the green shells. So he's probably only going to get 1, maybe 2 attempts at a green shell skip, and that's assuming he can pick up a green shell before the CPUs have come past him. So Smurfy gets bananas. This is not what Smurfy's wanting to see. He's really going to want to see a green shell out of this item box here. Okay, that's good. This might be the only green shell attempt he gets though before the CPUs come past him. So he's going to stop just before this item box on the right. He's going to aiming the green shell at the wall. He's going to fire it, and he's then going to race up to catch it and try and hit himself off the green over the wall. So he crosses the finish line while in the air, and the game will then put him back behind the finish line, but it will have already counted the lap, so he's essentially skipped an entire lap. So Smurfy's now at the end of lap 2. Having made that green first time, pretty much very clutch. If he'd missed it, he probably would have had to drive around again. But now he has kind of all the time in the world, gets his greens, makes a second jump, and all Smurfy now has to do is drive to the finish line, and his race is over. And it looks like he's going to get something like a 29:40. Excellent time by Smurfy there. So Smurfy wins. Hopefully we'll get him in chat for an interview.
Hello.
Hello, Smurfy. That seems to go pretty well. I mean, Rainbow Road obviously was probably getting a bit nervous as to whether you were a green shell or not, but...
a lot of weird mistakes in that run, but yeah, went alright.
Yeah, I mean, your Mushroom Cup seemed pretty decent. You got the star nice and early on KD. Toad's Turnpike, very good. I think you got a 131 there.
Yeah, it's just, Frapp missing the shortcut that you never miss.
It's only 7-8 seconds. Again, Royal Raceway's another, 8-9 seconds?
10 seconds. But again, just stuff that I never miss. And then my non-shortcut driving wasn't very good because I didn't practice it.
And you made most of those seconds back up with the mushroom on Mario Raceway. It's always nice to see that one. It's quite difficult to do.
That was nice.
Yeah, it looks like Super Viper's coming towards the end of his run. He's looking for his last screen shell.
Yeah, I guess he got super unlucky on KD.
Yeah, KD, he was fishing for items forever, and it just wasn't coming for him. I think he was basically one whole track behind at the end of Flower Cup. So yeah. He could. I mean, he had a fantastic DKJP. Did that in under 40 seconds.
Yeah, I saw that. I've been getting DKs similar to that, but I can't really. I don't seem to be able to do them in a race for some reason.
Got a very nice Warrior Stadium with 31 seconds.
Yeah, but I lost time because I accidentally picked Flower Cup and had to reset.
I didn't even notice that. I was watching the. During the menus, I always watch the other player. Just assume that all goes swimmingly. You're not the first person to have done that. We have seen. I think Zoki did that as well in one race.
It just didn't register the second right on the D-pad, and I realized it right away. Luckily, so I just reset it immediately. But
okay, yeah. Super Viper's got the green here. Makes it over, so that's gonna finish Super Viper up. Just gonna have to drive to the finish line. He'll get a something around a 32:42 maybe. Had a bit of a nasty Rainbow Road at the end there. So you've moved on to 3-1, so that guarantees you a place in the knockout stages.
Yeah, it's good. I was hoping that'd be the case.
And you've got a better time than a lot of the other people who were on 2-1. I think you're the fastest of all the 2-1s. So,
I think so, yeah.
Unless they improve times, you'll only be behind Abney and Matthias in the seeding, because whoever loses out of those two already has a faster time. So,
yeah,
I'd expect with the time you have probably to be the number 3 seed, maybe number 4 at worst.
I have one word to say about my race today.
AD, RNG.
No, smiley face.
Smiley.
That is how I feel about what just happened.
Yeah, I gave you
I'm not that upset. I don't just get 2 sub-30s in a tournament and then not get screwed over by the game. I knew I was going to get cursed at some point.
So it's not the end of a tournament for you. You've moved on to 2-2, which means you're going to be playing one of the other 5 2-2 players for one of the remaining 3 places in the knockout stage.
Well, that ought to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, the RNG in that run for me was laughably bad.
Yeah, KD was... You just couldn't
I
seem
don't
to
know what
buy a
happened
star.
there. I could have done triple reds, but I didn't want to. And I kind of regret that decision, but whatever.
Did you end up having to drive around on shortcut?
Yeah, I had to drive around KD. Yeah. My first star of this run was in Yoshi Valley.
I don't think I've ever seen someone have to drive around on KD.
Yeah.
That's like really, really bad luck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, KD was brutal. It was just...
And then I got bananaed into the water twice on Sherbert and got 2 lightnings.
Ouch.
Yeah, you got one lightning on Bowser Castle just after I said
I'm
Bowser
pretty
Castle
sure if I didn't
seemed to
get
be-
that lightning, I was on gold pace.
Yeah, I said, oh, Super Viper's having a pretty decent Bowser Castle here. Nothing's major's gone wrong.
There were
Instantly
highlights
I
in
said
this
that
run, though.
bolt.
Toad's Turnpike and DKJP were really good.
Yeah, sub 40 on DKJP was very good.
Yeah, and I still got the Rainbow Road Green Shell skips, even though the game gave me like 300 bananas.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see if anybody later on in the tournament decides to start turning around at the start on Rainbow Road looking for reds.
Yeah, it would be
I
interesting.
might mess with it, but I don't know. I need to see a video of it.
I've messed with it a bit. It's not actually too bad. You just need to get a setup for it, which I don't have yet.
Yeah, I think I've hit it like 3 times out of about 40 attempts at the moment. But I think the first 25 I didn't know what I was actually doing in terms of the buttons you needed to press. So
yeah, once there's a consistent setup for it, I think it'll be basically the same kind of difficulty as Luigi Raceway Reds.
the thing is, you only have to hit it once to make it worthwhile, because you can always then just go for greens afterwards. So if you get triple reds, you've basically got 3 attempts at it, and it'll save time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm half tempted. I've got a race tomorrow to see if I can learn it and drop it in that race then. So
see if anyone decides to go for Royal Raceway Reds as well. That one's much harder.
yeah, I can't see that one unless somebody is quite far behind and needs an absolute Hail Mary.
Yeah.
So.
I've hit it a couple times,
I'm probably not going to learn either of those, depending on how difficult the Royal Raceway one looks too precise for me, and I don't know about the Rainbow Road one yet.
Yeah, the wall's just really high on Royal Raceway. It's so hard to actually get on top of it.
I would have to see a video for Rainbow Road to see how much I actually would care about trying it. Yeah.
Yeah, the Royal Raceway one, it's certainly not for me. I mean, I don't even do like Luigi Raceway or Mario Raceway Reds, so.
Yeah, I don't do either of those either, but then again, I'm on NTSC, so I kind of can't do it on Luigi Raceway.
You got a very nice DK start jump though, or start. I wasn't sure if it was DK, but you nailed the start jump. That's never easy.
That's just a regular strat for me. Yeah, this game is good. No flaws with it whatsoever.
Yeah, it's not like you're sitting around waiting on RNG and then get bolted in the worst possible position.
Mm-hmm.
I got bolted, but it was on KD right as my star ran out, so I just barely dodged
I saw
it.
that, yeah, just where you were passing the track. I wasn't sure if it was you who got. I thought you got the shock dodge, but I didn't say anything because right as you got that Super Viper on the screen, actually was firing about 9 bolts in a row. So, yeah, I mean, very good run. Smurfy, good luck in the knockout rounds.
Yeah.
Super
All right.
Viper.
GG Smurfy, glad you finally got your vengeance in November.
Yeah.
Super Viper, possibly good luck in the 2-2 round, depending on who
Thank
you
you.
face.
I was actually I was having flashbacks to that marathon race we had when I missed the start jump. I was like, oh no.
No, I was kind of praying that Rainbow Road would screw you over again, but because that was like my only hope. But then it screwed me over, so karma.
Yeah.
All right. Well, see you, peeps.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Thanks.
the next race schedule for streaming is probably going to be August the 4th, which is tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern. It should be the Armin Lewis match. So tune in tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern. That's it from me. And thank you for both of the runners. Give them a follow. You can see their stuff in the Twitch chat. I'll just type that in now. And if you want to know a little bit more about the tournament, there's some links in there in the Twitch chat from me. It's good night. Have fun.